From his all-out attack on Congress party to saying he quit the party because of Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, through his book Azad, has given a clear message. He is not to be trifled with. I am joined by Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad on News 9, where he'll hopefully speak to me about his relationship with the Congress leadership, which has turned bad in recent years, and also, of course, about his book and about his journey from being a complete insider, from being a hardcore congressman to now an outsider. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Azad. Sir, I want to start by asking you about the title of your book. It says Azad. Is there more to it than it just being your last name? Or is it a subtle message that I am Azad?
No, there's a reason for that. It's not a question that I'm Azad today. I'm Azad, you know, being a Kashmiri, you know, Azad means independent.
Right.
So I have an independent thinking. I take decisions independently. I cannot be influenced by anybody outsider or insider, even by my family, the decision I take. And luckily, so far in my life, I have taken all decisions independently, be in government or outside the government. And which is why my pen name is Azad, and which is why my party's last two name is also Azad, Democratic Progressive Azad Party. And everybody suggested that the book name should be Azad because the book is very objective.
Okay.
Whosoever, whether it is opposition party or the party which I worked in from my student life, I have written fair and without any fear. I have written whatever I have written in the book, it is totally objective. It is not subjective. There is no liking or disliking that will not reflect from the book. There are leaders, I might have praised them in one line, but at the same time, I might have not praised them because in the other para, it is seen that they might have not come to the level I expected them. So it is not that somebody I have praised him all through and again somebody I have been all through. And as a matter of fact, I always tell media persons, those who come to interview me, I think I have been interviewed by almost 40-45 channels and print media persons. So I have requested them not to ask about Rahul Gandhi and Modi. The book is my autobiography. It is not the autobiography of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because there are 99% written in the book other than Rahul Gandhi and Modi and BJP and Congress. And there are so many interesting episodes in real 100% which you will not find anywhere, because there are some episodes which happened in the working committee way back 30 years, 28 years. There are episodes of the Congress on the cabinet, and in the cabinet, no secret. Of course, you cannot share the cabinet proceedings, but these are not that proceedings of, these are the personal of the issues which I had raised with regard to the Congress party and how Congress party is going down and how Congress party has been neglected. That also I have discussed.
Why do you say Congress party has been neglected? What does this mean?
Well, I have said in my book, one chapter is the downfall of the Congress party. But the downfall does not take place in one day. When I was a student, I think in 6th class, there was in Urdu, the subject downfall of Mughal Empire. So there were 13 points written in the book, 13 causes for the downfall of the Mughal Empire,
Right.
which I don't remember now what were in 6th class, but I remember I had memorized those 13 points because my teacher, I think Faizullah, was from Kishtwar, and he told me that because those days 8th class was a board examination, it's like a university examination, and he said that this is very important questions which generally comes during the examination, so you must memorize it. So I had memorized those 13 points, and actually it was one or 6th or 7th question in the paper, and I started with that because I memorized them lest I forget by the time I complete the entire paper 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7, 13. And I'm sure the examiner, while going through that paper, he must have read only one paper over and given the mark full. Okay, if he can write the first question, all the 13, he must be correct in writing other, questions also, answering other questions also. So ever since, when I was in politics, I was thinking that whenever I will write a book, I will also write the reason for the downfall of the Congress party. And ultimately a time came to write a book, and I have penned down. Of course, I have not penned down in detail. There's a reason for that, because I would like to do that in the second book.
Okay.
Because I started writing this book during the second COVID period. And I was just halfway through the book that I broke away from the Congress party and
So
made.
you were with the party when you started
Yeah,
writing?
yeah, it was during the COVID.
Okay, all right.
So almost 90% what the book is today is written that. Of course, had I been still in the party, the book would have been double in volume what it is. But then I had no time. So I was done with almost 50% of the book, and 50% book, it would have taken me another 1 year. But I didn't have even a second to write because मेरे को खड़ी करनी थी book, ये party. I had to go everywhere in the state, so I didn't have maybe few minutes a day. So you cannot write, you must have cool mind. So I then concluded, or whatever little was in the memory, I didn't.
No, it's very detailed,
So
and it's of course very well
and
written.
yet just I concluded with that 60%, and I thought the 40% of what I was going to write in this, and maybe another 60% is going to happen in this year and a half. This is this coming 1 year, or year and a half, is going to be very historical period in the 21st century. Two things are going to happen, I personally feel, in this 1.5 year. Number one, starting from Jammu Kashmir, this will be first election in Jammu Kashmir while it is UT and without Article 370. All the elections since the inception which have taken place in the Assembly, it has been full-fledged state, and the Article 370 existed there. So now coming election, as and when they take place, will be minus Article 370 and minus statehood. So what will be the rupa-rekha, what will be the structure of that assembly, that is yet to be seen. And what form of government we will have in Jammu Kashmir, that the history will have to judge. Similarly, there are so many elections in the south and north and center, where somewhere BJP in power, somewhere in Congress power, somewhere is other party. What will happen to that? But most watched election will be the Lok Sabha election.
Absolutely.
Because will Mr. Modi make third time? That will be a historical thing. If he loses, that will also be a historical thing. Then who will be there? What will be the composition of the government?
Sorry to interrupt, but let me ask you this. What do you think will happen in 2024?
Well, I cannot say. I cannot say anything. A lot of people are asking me what will happen in 24. It is very difficult. It is either there could be Peripura alliance. I personally, as a political worker, I can say the chances of pre-poor alliances are remote.
Okay.
But if at all, if Mr. Modi does not get majority, if he gets majority, then there's no post-poll alliance at all. And if he doesn't get the majority, then who will be the leader of that alliance? Whether then alliance will be there anti-Modi, or if some of them will align again with Mr. Modi and Mr. Modi will continue, or all political parties will be determined to get united and keep their issues as they are and elect one leader. Who will be that one leader, and whether that government will last or not. So this is a very important issue in the 21st century, because 21st century has not faced such a situation like we have today.
Azad Saab, you mentioned Article 370 and you've also written about it in your book. I remember you vehemently opposed it in the parliament. Do you still think it was a bad idea?
I still think. Maybe that time I did not know the sentiments of the people. But now it's almost 4 years. I have been going Jammu, I have been going to Kashmir, I have been meeting political parties, I have been meeting non-political parties, I have been talking to Hindus, Dogras, Kashmiri Pandits, Muslims. The sentiment is there. I've said that in politics or in any human's life, the sentiment always dominates. It can be religious sentiment, it can be regional sentiment, it can be political sentiment.
Right.
I am citing big examples. I'm citing the example of religion. No, I think it was 16th century when Babri Masjid was built. I don't think more than few hundred people from Uttar Pradesh, forget the Muslims of rest part of the country, might have seen the Babri Masjid. The Babri Masjid was not used on daily basis for as mosque for namaz and all that. But for centuries together, it was just a sentiment. But there was another sentiment of the Hindu brothers, also equal sentiments. It was since pre-independence, post-independence. It was sentiment of Ram Mandir. So till the Ram Mandir did not start, or till the Ram Mandir decision by the Supreme Court did not take place, the sentiment among the Hindus about Ram Mandir remained there. So there was no dearth of mosques, but yet there was sentiment in favor of Babri Masjid. There was no dearth of mandirs, but there was sentiment about the Ram Mandir. This is the religious part. Take the social part or cultural part, the southern part, and in particular the Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu people know English very well. The Tamil Nadu people can read and write Hindi much more than our North Indian people can. But the sentiment is against Hindi and pro-local language. So every Prime Minister has tried to push Hindi there, but all political parties have come vehemently against imposition of Hindi and in favor of the local language. So that is cultural, social, linguistic, what we call sentiment. Similarly is in Kashmir. What BJP had been talking of Article 370, that was 70-year-old 370, not today's 370. What was 70 years 370? A separate Prime Minister of India, a separate Rashtrapati. And not many people of our country, unfortunately 99% people of our country and almost 100% people of our country, the young generation, they do not know that we had two prime ministers in India right from 47. The first prime minister was Sheikh Abdullah. Second prime minister was Shamsuddin. The third prime minister was Bakshi Ghulam Muhammad. The fourth prime minister was Ghulam Muhammad Sadiq. And this continued for I think 18 years till 64. And then a legislation was brought in by the then Congress government in the assembly, and that legislation was carried on from prime ministership to chief ministership, from Rashtrapati. The Karan Singh was the Rashtrapati, first Rashtrapati. And I think he continued. And he was an elected Rashtrapati of Jammu Kashmir. The Jammu Kashmir Assembly elected him. And he continued there as Rashtrapati till 64, till that amendment in the Assembly was brought. Then earlier, with the government of India, it was supposed to be only the external affairs and currency and the defense. The rest of the things were supposed to be with the Jammu Kashmir government. So in a sense, it was almost an independent. But over a period of 70 years, there was nothing. There was chief minister like anybody, other state. There was a governor like any other state.
So what you're essentially implying is it was just a sentiment.
It was just sentiment. It was just a sentiment. Like the sentiments I have said, religious sentiments in northern India about Hindus and Muslims. Just I have said about the cultural or social or linguistic sentiment about South. So it was a political sentiment. Though it was empty, but the sentiment was there.
Right.
Inside the house there were no windows, nothing, everything. But the structure was there. Even if you go Kashmiri Pandits today, the houses inside, whichever the houses are still there. And if you see outside the facade, your sentiment will be so thing you will like them as that. So this is some sentiment which cannot be just whatever you may do, the sentiment will remain there.
Right. Azad Sahab, you mentioned Babri Masjid. On that, I would like to ask you that there are some issues that you have highlighted in your book. But then there are some other issues like Shah Bano's case, like Babri Masjid, like Operation Blue Star, which you have not.
I have mentioned about...
Passing mention.
I have mentioned about... I said that I had to conclude the book immediately. I have said about the Blue Star also. I have also even said that I was a junior minister in Indira Gandhi's time, and the Mrs. Indira Gandhi has called the meeting a Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers means all the ministers. Not many people know that there are three-tier ministers: cabinet ministers, minister of state, deputy ministers.
Right.
And all ministers put together are called Council of Ministers.
Right, sir.
Cabinet ministers are only cabinet who sit in the cabinet. The other junior ministers don't sit. But Prime Minister has a prerogative to call all the Council of Ministers to consult anything. So I have written in my book that Mrs. Indira Gandhi called the Council of Ministers and asked everybody's suggestion, including the junior ministers, which I was junior minister then in Indira Gandhi's government, hardly 32, 34-year-old. And I had also suggested, I have written that I had suggested that you stop their water supply, you stop their food supplies for 2 months, 3 months, and ultimately having not water and food, they will come out. But then I was countered that there are so many tube wells inside, so they don't need any water supply, and they have the food stock for years together. They can remain there. They have already stocked the food there. They can remain 5 years, 3 years, 4 years without the outside supply of food. So I kept quiet. I said, okay, all those who are managing, senior people, let them manage. Then ultimately, we, like any other people, we heard how this has happened. So, but ultimately, for a long time, why long time, even today, the sentiment of destroying the temple has not gone among the minds of our Sikh brothers, rightly so. And because that sentiment, there's a religious sentiment. And unfortunately, that has happened, which I say it should not happen. Some other ways and means would have been found. You know, at that age, while I was still young, I had opposed that, and I suggested the alternate thing, that instead of going for any, harsh measure, this is the Gandhian way of measure we should start. So, but ultimately, both temple went, and Mrs. Gandhi's life also went. That was immediate quid pro quo thing. Maybe if the temple would have survived, I think many people did not bother about the killing of the militants. But I think 99% would bother about the destruction of the temple. And that temple is the number one temple in the world for the Sikh brothers. Even why Sikh brothers, even people from other religion go there. So ultimately that took the life of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. That changed the whole history of India.
And political scenario also.
And I said the political scenario of the country changed. Maybe she would have continued. She was not very old. She was just 67. Even if she would have continued for 10 years, she would have been just 77. She would have continued for 10 years. And maybe after 10 years, what would have happened? So total history would have changed. So these are sentiments. The Babri Masjid, as I have written in the Babri Masjid, full name, that while the Babri Masjid was an issue, Ram Temple was an issue, the both sides, there was a huge polarization in 90s, and ultimately it was, the government did not permit these RSS and VHP to go there, but ultimately the Supreme Court gave the permission.
Right.
And once Supreme Court gives the permission, the central government and state government were obliged the people to go there. But there were unfortunately two things. The Supreme Court should have fixed the number, maybe 500, 1,000, not the lakhs. The number was not fixed. But at the same time, the Home Minister and Prime Minister, they also equally faltered. Both had been the Chief Ministers. Narasimha Raja ji belonged to a state which has a composite culture, Urdu, Hindi, Angrezi. And he himself was a chaste Urdu speaker. I don't know whether he could read and write Hindi, but he would write only Urdu. And of course, he was a linguistic. He could speak in 10, 12 languages and could read and write in 10, 12 languages. But besides that, when it comes to Urdu was his mother language. Hyderabad Urdu was famous those days. When they were students, it's no more the same Urdu state today, but that time it was an Urdu state. And the Hyderabad state during the period of Nizam state, when they were the students and studying, and he has been a chief minister. And Chauhan Saab had been chief minister twice, I think, before that. So they knew how to face the law and order, how to face the crowds. And both were, one was Home Minister and one was Prime Minister. They could have foreseen if lakhs of people will come, what will happen. And they should have raised the paramilitary forces. They did not. So there's a full chapter on that.
Right. Sir, talking about Congress, you have worked with 4 Congress Prime Ministers, and you also have been very close to the top leadership of the party. You have worked with Indira Gandhi, you have worked with Sanjay Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi. My question
and
is...
also Narasimha Rao.
Also
and also Sitaram K.
Of course, sir. But my question is that, did your relationship undergo a change with Sonia Gandhi after Rahul Gandhi was made the Vice President of the Congress and then eventually the AICC Chief?
Well, everything was going during Sanjay Gandhi's time, Indira Gandhi's time, Rajiv Gandhi's time. and Narasimha Rao's time, Kesari's time, Manmohan Singh's time, Sonia Ji's time. What is politics in Congress? What is politics in India? Our leaders have fought against capitalism, feudalism. Our freedom fighters have fought against the king rule, or for Nawab rule, or Maharaja rule, or Raja rule in states. And after a great sacrifice, we have achieved democracy. And what is democracy? That you have a right to speak. Now even in the parliament you have the right to speak. Even public you have to say right to speak. Why? When somebody is not allowed to speak, they go to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is there's a freedom of speech. You cannot do anything. So when comes in the party, you are supposed to discuss threadbare. Whether he is a prime minister, you can speak against him, that you are doing wrong here, you are doing wrong there. If he is a party president, you are free to speak, you are not doing well, you are not running the party the way it should be run, party is not getting any benefit, you can say. So that you could say during Indira Gandhi's time, Rajiv Gandhi's time, Narasimha Rao's time. And I have given my own examples. I request everybody how I rejected the Indira Gandhi's proposal. Being just Youth Congress president, he was prime minister. I rejected her proposal. She wanted to make me some people as party Youth Congress General Secretary. I said in writing they cannot be. And she was not angry. She called me and told me keep it up. And you can imagine how emboldened I must have after the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, the millennium's most famous and strong Prime Minister, telling a All India Youth Congress boy, just, okay, don't mind if you have not entertained my recommendation and you say that I was not correct in recommending the right people and you think according the procedure you have laid down, they don't fit in, keep it up. So if Indira Gandhi could tell me, keep it up, the Rajiv Gandhi, being Prime Minister, never dared to say you do Zabardasti. Because he knew about me. Because Indira Gandhi herself had told her when he came into the power that he can say no to me. Forget, he can tell you 10 times no because you are a learner and he's already there in politics, minister and MP much before you have been MP. He will say on number of occasions no, but that means he knows much better than you and you don't know, you are pushing the wrong person, so don't mind. Which is why till he died, we worked so closely, almost 18 hours, 16 hours, up to 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. We had difference of opinion, but we have never clashed. Either he will surrender or I will surrender because we have to satisfy each other. The similar thing, in this book, there was on so many times I have raised the issue in the cabinet and in the working committee while Rao Saab was president, when Kesari Saab was president, when Sonia Ji was president. But that didn't happen in Rahul Ji's. You can't push through your opinion or suggestions. You had to accept his suggestions, whether that will ruin the party or not. But you have to accept his suggestions, which Azad cannot do, which Azad didn't do, which Azad didn't accept. That's all. So I don't want to say anything beyond Rahul.
No, let me ask you this. You have also written about how you cautioned Rahul Gandhi about Hemanta Biswa Sarma having majority of MLAs on his side. You went and you told him he should not go, and he told you जाता है तो जाने दो. Was that the moment when you realized कि कांग्रेस का कुछ नहीं हो सकता?
Not only that, it's because on number of occasions, I have said in number of occasions, unfortunately, you know Takia Kalam?
Yeah.
Takia Kalam is something, some people have different Takia Kalam, just nodding the head, या something, अच्छा देखेंगे, is a Takia Kalam. So is Takia Kalam over a period of, I've seen, I think, few years now, if somebody would come in my presence also, or even if I have said that somebody is not unhappy, so what is the job of the leader? To find out why he's not unhappy. Either you invite or you go there. If it's a senior, you go there. If it's a junior, you call him here. Or you
Right.
send emissary between. But he will say, oh, if he's unhappy, let him go to RSS. You can't do that. It's a huge party. In huge party, you are not supposed...
And you were right, it did cost Congress dearly.
Yeah, you in a Congress huge party or any damn party, there has to be some people will be angry. Your attitude or somebody else's colleague's attitude, you will have to find a solution for that. If you're head of the organization or leader, who will find solution to that? We have found a solution as General Secretary for a period of time, so many people not seeing eye to eye, and once it came to our notice, if it's a senior person, we'll just dash to his residence, what is the problem? We'll sort it out. If it's a younger, call him. And we, 99% would sort it out. But he will not try it. He will say, let him go. So if you tell everybody, let him go, then what will you alone do there?
And who will remain?
No, this is almost 4 dozen people have left. People may remember Ghulam Nabi or Madhusar Sindhya. It's not true. As many as 4 dozen senior leaders, either ministers or chief ministers. Yesterday only the chief minister of undivided Andhra Pradesh, who has been a speaker, who has been a chief minister, joined BJP. He waited all along for 9 years. Nobody approached him. Nobody approached him for good 9 years. You had a Congress chief minister who was a speaker, leader, and he's not old. He's hardly 55. He was one of the youngest chief ministers of undivided Andhra Pradesh. So to be a chief minister of undivided 2 states, so he had the knowledge of 2 states. He could advise you about Telangana, he could advise you about the Andhra. And 9 years, only I approached him through some people 4 or 5 times, but I was nobody to approach. Those who are running the organization are calling the shots. They should have gone to them. He was not an ordinary person. He was a speaker of an undivided assembly. He was a chief minister almost good 5 years of an undivided Andhra Pradesh, one of the biggest states in the south. Well, not one of the biggest, the biggest state then as undivided in the southern India with 42 seats. Why didn't he approach anybody? He had to ultimately go to BJP. Why Antony's son? Why so many sons are adjusted? Everybody's son. The father is also in the parliament, son is also in the parliament. The Antony had, rightly so, being in 80s, he has taken sannyas from party, rightly, and his son was very active, very close with Rahul Gandhi, running their entire computer and social media thing. Why he was thrown out and not given any assignment? He joined BJP. A Christian leader's son whose father has been 70 years, 4 or 5 time chief minister, 4 or 5 time union minister, in UPA government 7 years defense minister of India, the closest man to the family, Indira Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi. And Rahul Gandhi, one of the public meetings said, he's my guru. And his guru's son joining a minority, not from a majority, a Christian from Kerala, joined BJP. What does that reflect?
All right. Indira Gandhi, Sanjay Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi. Who had the most clarity in terms of politics?
Of course, Indira Gandhi. There's no doubt about it. That goes without saying. There's no if and but.
How different is Congress today from Indira Gandhi's time?
I have written it that all those people who used to call his dictator, I have worked with her in the organization and I have worked with her in the government also. And at very young age, I think she was the most democratic person. Yes, maybe emergency, the circumstances were like that. Otherwise, as an individual, as prime minister, as ruler, I have seen her the most democratic person, most lovable person, motherly person. I would say motherly. But one thing I have not seen, let the people read from the book. I have cited so many examples about Mrs. Gandhi. Let the people read from the book. But let me tell you one thing exclusively to you, because I have given so far about 45 interviews, and unfortunately nobody asked this question about Indira Gandhi's motherly face also. They know only about one face as a ruler, as a strong woman, iron-handed woman, iron lady, whatever they may call. But I have seen a motherly love and affection in her, and I would like to narrate that story.
Sure.
I don't know I have narrated in my book or not, because there are so many things which I have still forgotten. It was 81, I was a Youth Congress president, and there was one function. Mrs. Gandhi was going for 5 days to Andamans and Nicobar. It was both political and holiday together. And family was also going. Sanjay was nowhere, not alive then. I was All India Youth Congress president. So I was also invited in one of the functions. So one day before or 2 days before, I went to Mrs. Gandhi that can I come in your aircraft? Because I have also to come for a day. Yes, you come. It will be good. Have you seen Andamans? I have not seen Andamans. Oh, I will show you Andaman. Be with me. I mean, don't stay separately and you come. Well, when I reached the airport, she was alone. Where is the family? He said, all of them have chickened out. Huh? You know, families, bacche honge. I think that time family, she meant maybe either these children or Mrs. Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi, or maybe that Manika was still in the family there. I didn't ask who were the family members, but this was the family. She said, everybody has chicken out. You know, these days, everybody has their own, priorities. Good, you ask me, at least you are there, who I can at least
use your company.
Give your company. And so we were in the aircraft, long journey, halted Bagdogra. I think there went something wrong with the aircraft. It took time and even otherwise hard, and then beyond. And she was in Raj Bhavan. I also was made to sit in the Raj Bhavan only, the Lieutenant Governor. So 4 or 5 days. So the previous day was public meeting. So I have a picture of that day, the public meeting. We only 2 on the dais. And that was the only when there was from helipad to the city, we were going in open car. So I sat in a car. So Mrs. Gandhi was in open car. But she immediately said, no, sit with me in the open car. So I have that open car picture. So wave, like I'm waving. So can you imagine the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi across the road waving and I also waving? Can today any person with Prime Minister sit and the wave and just have? And on the dais, only 2 chairs, her chair and my chair. That picture also I have. And addressing to public meeting, because Lieutenant Governor could not sit because it was a party meeting. And only 2 people addressing the crowd. And then on 4 days we went number of Andaman, this what we call these islands to see cultural program. I have mentioned those cultural programs over there, worth reading. I won't disclose everything, let the people read. I want the book also to be read, and so let reader, including you, should read. So I have seen on the dining table, eat this, don't eat this. It has proteins, it has fats. So that was a motherly
Affection.
affection.
Azad Sahab, you are a very strong and respected leader. You come from a Muslim majority state, but you don't project yourself as a Muslim leader. In the sense that, unlike others, I have hardly heard you say that Muslims are under attack in India. Is that a conscious decision?
No, it's not conscious decision, because again I have said, my political learning has been totally in different atmosphere. My father, my uncle, they all believed in composite culture. There's a history in this book. So my uncle, Tayaji, there were only two brothers, my father and my Tayaji. So my father was businessman and my Tayaji was studying. So my father was supporting Tayaji in study. So he went further studies after his post-graduation from Lahore University to England. After coming from England, and do you know who was his friend? Kashmiri Pandit from Kashmir.
I'm glad.
It is written in the book.
All right.
And he was, as a matter of fact, was teacher. And both were teacher. He was principal. He was earlier principal and went further studies, became again principal. So those days, in 50s, well, I was just born. I'm talking about the history. There were 2 seats for teachers. Like most of the states still have 2 to 4, 5 seats in the assembly for teachers, for graduates. In Jammu Kashmir also there used to be 2 seats for teachers, one from Jammu province and Kashmir. All the teachers of Kashmir would give vote to one through ballot and Jammu to Jammu representative. Bakshi Ghulam Ahmad was the Prime Minister and most strong person. Nobody could stand without his permission. They both, my Tayaji was the president of the Teachers Association of the state, and I think his friend from Kashmir, Kashmiri Pandit, was vice president. They were denied ticket by the government. So teachers told them, no, you people stand for the council. So my Tayaji stood for the MLC election from Jammu province, and my Tayaji told this Kashmiri Pandit to stand from Kashmir province, and I will campaign. Against Kashmiri Pandit was a Muslim candidate from Bakshi Ghulam Ahmad ruling party. Against my Tayaji was a Hindu, another principal, a party candidate. And after the result, the Hindu candidate of the ruling party, Bakshi Ghulam Ahmad, lost the deposit. Lost
The deposit.
deposit, and he won. Other side, they were close, but Kashmiri Pandit won. So that is the history even when I had not been to school. And next time, 6 years later, my Tayaji won. Nobody contested against him. Independent. And then, of course, Sadiq Saab then persuaded him to quit, resign, and join again education. So that is the type of, and I have all along till post-graduation studied with my Tayaji because his darbar was more. So from that teaching, I have grown up, and then national level came, and here was a C, and the C you will find Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims. There's no question of thinking of one religion or one community. And luckily till today, I have been accepted by every religion, and I accept every religion. I think
That's the beauty of India.
and that is the beauty.
Azad Sahab, you have been accused of being BJP's B team. Now, you have spent
But
almost...
I feel sometimes Congress is A team. The BJP is surviving only because of inaction of the Congress. If non-performance of the Congress is the result of the growth of the BJP. So if they call me B team, I call the A team.
Does it hurt you to hear these allegations, given that
Yes,
you've
it
spent
is.
5 decades in Congress?
They are so stupid, headless, mindless, issueless. If they had issued, which party for 9 years will just abuse Prime Minister Chor hai and then expect the votes? It can be 2 days slogan, it can be 10 days slogan, it cannot be 9 years slogan. Who will vote for that party who doesn't have a slogan? One slogan for 9 years. Is that the only problem the people of India have? Modi Chor hai. Now another, Adani, he is the more friendly with the Congress. I have not seen him because he funded them. He must be still funding them because both Chhattisgarh government and Rajasthan government have given him the business. Definitely in giving the business, they must have also taken some party funds. So they are still funded by him, but yet day in and day out they are abusing him. What will they give? The people don't know you have given them him in the business in
2 states.
in 2 states, and yet you are abusing. So that you are doing only for public consumption. On one side you are friendly with him, giving business. On the other side you are abusing him. The people, they think the people of India are fools.
So what happened to Congress after 2014? It was once a party which dominated national
I
politics.
think Congress party has left to the God. हे भगवान, इस दफ़ा बारिश नहीं करना, बरसात में वोट डाल देना हमारे बक्सों में. I don't know when God will start pouring votes from the sky. Maybe that time may come and Congress will win.
Any regrets, Azad Saab?
Huh?
Any regrets?
No, not regrets. I am happy. At least I can laugh. I have no acidity ever since I have left the Congress because I had acute acidity, hyperacidity in the Congress because I was thinking that this could be done, this can be done, that can be done, but it is not being done. So in Urdu, Kashmiri, there is a word, Kehre Darvesh bar jane Darvesh. The king, if he is angry, he will fire somebody. But the Darvesh is a Darvesh, poor man. If he is angry, he will get acidity because he cannot fire anybody. So, this is what was happening to me. I could not fire anybody. So, I would get acidity and hyperacidity. So, ever since I have left, at least I say whatever will happen, let them happen.
How confident are you that your party, Democratic Azad Party, is going to do well in J&K when the election
Let us see. I am making my effort and my colleagues are making very good effort. And I believe in hard work. We are working very hard.
Finally, Azad Saab, if you were to define Congress in one word, what would you say?
It's very difficult to define.
I'm sure you have many words for them, for the party, but one word.
Define the sense. In which sense?
Any one word which comes to your mind when I mention Congress.
The question is they have to survive, which I want the Congress party to survive, because I subscribe the same ideology which the Congress subscribes to. I respect the same leaders which the Congress leadership do. So I want Congress to survive. I think everybody in our country, including the ruling party, they would like any alternate national party to survive. But if there is a death wish, nobody can save you. If you decide that I have to suicide, who can? Who can save you? So this Congress party should come out of the societal mood.
I'll wrap up on that note. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Azad Saab, for talking to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for watching.